smart about that. So he's brought her back. She's been there now for 3 years with him. But while she was also running his campaign, in December of 2022, she joined that group we just showed you the org chart of, Mercury Public Affairs, this lobbying group. And that was pretty recent. That was December of 2022 she joined with them. And as a matter of fact, she's still there. And what is interesting, what I really do find interesting, is that as people started talking about her over the weekend, as people started talking about her connections to big pharmaceutical companies, especially the Gates and Gavi, this page disappeared. So if you go to Mercury Public Affairs and you look for Susie Wiles, okay, or if you Google, I should say, if you Google it, if you go to Google and you type in Susie Wiles Mercury Public Affairs, it pulls up a page. You click on that link and you get a 404, page not found. It's like, oh, well, that's interesting. So I took that and I put it into one of the Internet Archive programs. And this was last backed up on Friday, November the 8th. And so sometime between Friday and today, Mercury has deleted that page about Susie Wiles. And as of Friday, that page says that Susie Wiles is with them. She's co-chair. She's on the board, and she's co-chair on the board. So she is still with a a company that lobbies for pharmaceutical companies and Bill Gates and all the rest of the stuff, while she's going to be the chief of staff of Donald Trump. And so again, going back to the Kennedy Beacon, which has now removed that page that I showed you there and archived it.
Trump's going to bring in another pandemic and another bioweapon vaccine, just like he did in his last tenure. The Antichrist will fool even the very elect, if it's possible.
He said at the time, before he moved that page that had the graphic on it, and again, Brian Schulhavi was able to go back and get the archive there. It's funny how all this information about Susie Wiles is just disappearing everywhere, all over the internet. It's funny how there's this concerted effort from, I think, both Republicans and Democrats to memory hold the internet. They used to always say, well, you know, the internet is going to remember what people said, even though they think you don't. They don't like that. They want to get rid of that. Anyway, the time Kennedy Beacon, when they were, and again, all this stuff goes back to April. Kennedy Beacon, at that time, said Susie Wiles is a lobbyist for Big Pharma. She's also a key advisor to Trump. That's a problem, they said. But not anymore. Now it's a problem that Kennedy Beacon has purged all this stuff. On April 26, former President Trump revisited one of his most controversial pet projects, Operation Warp Speed. This time he dragged his political opponent, RFK Jr., into the fray. His views on vaccines are fake, all uppercase, as is everything else about his candidacy, said Trump about Kennedy. He posted that up on Truth Social. His views on vaccines are fake. And yet it is those views on vaccines that Trump used RFK Jr. for to assuage the fears of the MAGA people who really do know what Trump is doing, what he's about in terms of vaccines. They just won't admit it to themselves or to you. Going back to the Kennedy Beacon, this ignited significant backlash from Trump's base, highlighting the extent to which they disagree with him on COVID-19 vaccines. So he learned his lesson. Maybe she learned his lesson. We'll make an alliance with him, and then we will bide our time. The Wicked Witch of South Florida, I guess we could say. And so Kennedy Beacon had a hat up making fun of MAGA, said, "Make big pharma rich again." That's now been removed because